boxing fans worldwide are buzzing with excitement and debate as the idea of Terence Crawford facing Canelo Alvarez gains momentum. While some see it as a dream matchup between two of boxing's elite, others argue it's a risky mismatch due to the massive size and power gap. Terence Crawford, who has recently dominated the welterweight and junior middleweight divisions, is now eyeing a jump to super middleweight to challenge Canelo Alvarez for his titles. However, critics, including former world champion Mikey Garcia, are skeptical of the move. They believe Crawford is biting off more than he can chew by stepping into the ring with a naturally bigger and more powerful fighter like Canelo. Is this a bold move to secure greatness or a reckless decision that could tarnish Crawford's legacy? The clash of legacy vs. payday. The prospect of Crawford versus Canelo is not just a fight, but a clash of motivations: legacy versus financial reward. For Crawford, it's clear the allure of a massive payday with Canelo outweighs the risks of facing a much larger opponent. Fans are questioning whether this decision stems from his hunger for a new challenge or the pursuit of a big check. On the other hand, Canelo has nothing left to prove in his division and could easily move up to face bigger threats like Dmitry Bivol or Artur Beterbiev. With both fighters at different crossroads in their careers, this potential bout has stirred a heated conversation. Will this fight live up to the hype, or will it expose the dangers of mismatched weight classes in boxing? Fans are eager to see how this story unfolds, with some seeing it as the ultimate battle of skill versus size. Former multi-division world champion Mikey Garcia has openly shared his concerns about Terence Crawford's decision to move up 2 weight classes to challenge Canelo Alvarez for his super middleweight titles. According to Garcia, Crawford, who recently transitioned to the 154-pound division, is taking an unnecessary risk by stepping into the ring with the bigger and more powerful Canelo. He believes that Crawford's performance in his last fight at 154 pounds, where he faced Israel Madrimov, exposed some vulnerabilities, particularly in handling the added weight and power of his opponents. Garcia feels that Crawford should instead focus on unifying the belts in the junior middleweight division, where he can compete more evenly. However, he also acknowledges that Crawford is likely drawn to the fight with Canelo because of the massive financial rewards it offers, even though it might not be the most competitive or fair matchup. Garcia further elaborated that the significant size and power difference would work heavily in Canelo's favor, even though Crawford might have superior technical skill. He criticized the fight as being more about financial gain than achieving legacy milestones. If legacy were Crawford's main goal, Garcia argues, he would first aim to conquer the middleweight division by challenging the champions at 160 pounds before stepping up to face someone as formidable as Canelo. Unfortunately, because the fighters at middleweight do not attract the same financial attention as Canelo, Crawford seems to be skipping that step entirely. Garcia understands the lure of the payday, but believes this approach might not serve Crawford's long-term career or reputation. Mikey also highlighted the logistical challenges of the fight, pointing out that Canelo currently fights at 168 pounds and is unlikely to come down significantly in weight for the matchup. This would force Crawford to face a significant size disadvantage, which could prove detrimental. Garcia believes that Crawford's accomplishments across multiple divisions, from 140 to 154 pounds, are already impressive and sufficient to solidify his legacy. Instead of moving up to face Canelo, Garcia suggests that Crawford should focus on unifying the belts at 154 pounds, a division where he can showcase his skills and avoid taking unnecessary risks. However, Garcia admitted that the financial rewards tied to a fight with Canelo make it an understandably tempting opportunity for Crawford, even if it isn't aligned with the idea of fair competition. From a fan's perspective, Garcia expressed his disappointment with the potential matchup, labeling it as an unfair contest due to the stark size difference between the two fighters. He would much rather see Canelo take on challenges that are more aligned with his weight class, such as a rematch with Dmitry Bivol or a showdown with Artur Beterbiev at 175 pounds. These matchups, according to Garcia, would genuinely test Canelo's limits and offer fans a more exciting spectacle. Meanwhile, he believes that Crawford should focus on meaningful fights within his own division, such as facing WBC and WBO junior middleweight champion Sebastian Fundora. Garcia feels that pursuing a fight with Canelo may risk undermining Crawford's career if the result doesn't favor him, making it crucial for Crawford to prioritize strategic and competitive fights over financial incentives. Mikey Garcia also touched on the potential fallout for Terence Crawford if the fight with Canelo Alvarez doesn't go his way. He pointed out that moving up 2 weight classes to fight a naturally bigger and stronger opponent like Canelo could lead to a lopsided defeat. Such an outcome might harm Crawford's reputation, overshadowing the remarkable achievements he has already accomplished in his career. Garcia emphasized that taking on an opponent like Canelo isn't just a physical challenge, but also a strategic one. Crawford would need to adjust to the added weight, power, and pressure, all of which might work against him. For Garcia, the risk of losing to Canelo far outweighs the potential reward, especially when there are other meaningful fights available at 154 pounds where Crawford can shine. The former champion also highlighted that Crawford's decision to pursue a fight with Canelo is driven more by financial incentives than legacy building. While a bout against Canelo would undoubtedly generate enormous pay-per-view revenue and global attention, it wouldn't necessarily add to Crawford's legacy in the same way unifying the junior middleweight division would. Mickey pointed out that boxing fans and analysts value competitive matchups where fighters overcome challenges within their weight class, and Crawford stepping up to face Canelo might not be perceived as such. He noted that the financial appeal of the fight is understandable, but Crawford's legacy could be better served by focusing on opponents closer to his size and skill level. Garcia also brought up the idea that Canelo Alvarez has other options that might make more sense for his career. With potential rematches against Dmitry Bivol or fights with Artur Beterbiev at 175 pounds, Canelo has opportunities to cement his legacy further while facing opponents in his own weight class. These matchups would offer fans a chance to see Canelo push his limits and potentially add more titles to his already impressive resume. For Canelo, a fight with Crawford could be seen as a step down in competition, given the size disparity and the perception that Crawford hasn't proven himself at higher weight classes yet. Garcia believes that fans would prefer to see Canelo challenge himself against the toughest available opponents rather than taking on a smaller fighter moving up in weight. Ultimately, Mikey Garcia believes that both Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez should prioritize fights that align with their respective weight classes and legacies. For Crawford, that means taking on the best in the junior middleweight division, such as Sebastian Fundora or other belt holders, and continuing to dominate within a realistic range. For Canelo, it means pursuing legacy-defining fights at 175 pounds or defending his titles against top contenders at 168. Garcia stressed that while the financial aspect of a Crawford-Canelo matchup is undeniable, the fight itself might not live up to the competitive standards fans expect. In the end, both fighters have the chance to solidify their legacies by making smarter choices, and Garcia hopes they take the paths that will truly test their greatness. The buzz surrounding a potential Terence Crawford bees. Canelo Alvarez showdown is undeniably electrifying, but it's a fight that comes with high stakes and intense scrutiny. While the clash promises to generate unparalleled excitement and financial rewards, it also raises questions about the true motivations behind the matchup. For Crawford, it's an opportunity to cement his legacy in a way few fighters dare, but it also puts him at risk of stepping outside his comfort zone against a physically dominant Canelo. On the other hand, Canelo, already a legend in his own right, faces a choice between taking on a smaller but skilled opponent or pursuing even greater challenges in higher weight classes. As fans and analysts dissect the possibilities, one thing is clear: this potential fight could redefine careers and alter the landscape of boxing. Whether it becomes an iconic moment in sports history or a cautionary tale of ambition, the intrigue surrounding this matchup is impossible to ignore.